can we really have a successful relationship between a promoter and investor in some of these cases?
So look, I think the answer is yes. I think there's several opportunities out there. The first thought is funds, as we explore this, we need to be rational. We cannot be so bearish and ask for a thought process which essentially drives the bankers or the promoter away. Same thought process from the banker side. The banks need to be more realistic in their thought process and their assessment of the opportunities out there and allow us to get into a transaction at a rational multiple, a rational buy, if you will. And I think promoters in the end, look, I think they need to be rational to understand that capital coming in will have return requirements. And it needs to be something where we can get into and make a return. It's stressed, so clearly we'd want a higher rate of return on our investments.
We see a lot of opportunity to invest across the cycle of stressed and distressed companies, truant and good promoters. So I think this whole concept of, promoters are not agreeing, promoters should also have some skin in the game, they should also make money, all of that is good, but provided the secured lenders make most of their capital back.
Srini, let me talk to you. What exactly is your strategy? I mean, you have not done any transaction.
We keep hearing that the regulations are moving towards, and funnily enough, in the current environment, towards a full cash economy. We were a cashless economy in this business. Now we are hopefully going to a full cash economy. I think, there is some time before, sensible transactions will come through.
Yes, 20 cents to a dollar, 22 cents to a dollar, 30 cents to a dollar is something which is not, attracting. Second thing, the financial investors, they obviously are putting the money in a distressed asset. They need priority. They need their returns. Unfortunately, as a lender group, at times, we suddenly see we are charging something around 10% and someone is charging 18%. That is a shock, culture shock. But yes, we have overcome by now.
Now, there are two ways, that one could deal with the problem. Either you wait, watch, see the wall, hit the wall, then break your head, right? Which is really what's been happening for the large part. But where we've been most successful is where you see that wall in front, how can you really use that opportunity to go talk to that company, give them a capital structure that can potentially refinance what exists in the balance sheet and tune that to the current economic cycle. So once you do that, then what you've really done is what was tomorrow a distress opportunity, you've kind of almost caught it at a pre-stress or early stress situation today. They have asset liability management issues and you've tried to fix that.
Nishant, I think there have been some changes here. So does it really sort of, in the light of new regulatory changes, does it really sort of make sense for PE funds to get into the ARC business, given that anybody sort of can buy these bad loans from banks now?
The RBI has allowed entities like NBFCs to purchase bad loans from banks. They've also now allowed those NBFCs to set up special purpose vehicles, pool some of those assets, and then issue securitized debt instruments to FPIs, right? So the classic sort of ARC model that you saw can perhaps now be replicated through other platforms as well.
Rapid fire, I'll sort of throw some words at you guys. So whatever the instant reaction comes to your mind, just sort of speak it out. I'm going to start with you, Venkat. Demonetization.
Very good in the very long term.
SBI Capital.
SBI Capital?
Yeah.
An excellent syndicator and a lender in the community. In one word, deal maker.
Urjit Patel or Raghuram Rajan?
I think Raghuram Rajan was better in the sense that, there was more stability in the thought process.
Tata mystery case.
I'm not even involved in that.
Return expectations.
As high as possible.
Krishnan, bankruptcy code.
Excellent move.
Okay. Nishant. Mr. Sahu.
Great leader.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for this interesting panel. We'll just begin with what we left at the first panel. I think that we had a divided panel on restructuring. Karan, which side are you on?
I think the big change is that there has been obviously social change in terms of people's aspirations. There is a next generation of family business leaders that don't necessarily want to handle what dad or mom did. And there is a change in the legal architecture. On account of these three pillars, there is bound to be change going forward. And I think if we can think for a moment that change can also happen in India, and it's really hard to think that way, but it has, then we must back the idea that change will happen going forward, and very quickly. We deserve to be an economic entity as India that attracts long-term stable capital that people will continue to invest in the future generations.
Chunk of bad debt is essentially in the infrastructure, largely in the power space. And IDFC being, largely, infrastructure-focused private equity fund, how are you looking at that opportunity set?
I would rather segment the issue into three different buckets. One is governance related, one is operations, and third being, balance sheet related.
Interesting, yeah.
If there were to be governance related issues that lead to stress in a business, my personal view is, we would not want to work with that sponsor over long term. The other two buckets, certainly there are, ways of either working with the existing management and the sponsor, or, getting your own, ownership construct in place.
Could you perhaps illustrate us with some examples where you've really sort of worked with private equity firms and really turned around some of these companies here?
I think many years back, you would not have had a situation of any promoter or any Indian promoter selling assets. Today, there is tons of them there. There are tons of assets. There is, for example, GMR themselves. And, there are many, many situations today that, there are a lot of asset sales that are taking place. So turnaround is not just a function of just some operating or financial thing. There's a lot around it.